Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're boarding passengers seated in zones E and F at this time. Your zone number.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome back my co-host, Lee Harris from ATPI Travel. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. It's been a couple of weeks, but all good here, I've got to say. So we're looking forward to another edition.
Yeah, well, you've been busy working hard or hardly working.
I know. Working to live or living to work. I can't remember which one it is.
I think everybody has that issue at times in their life. Right. We've got some bad and some interesting news this week. Let's head right over to flight cancellations. What's going on?
Yeah, British and European passengers will have to brace for mass disruptions in air travel. That's due to a no-fly zone the size of Belgium being imposed because of the 2024 Olympics. Travellers are advised to keep an eye on any potential developments as the restrictions will affect travel plans. Now, the Civil Aviation of France ordered a massive temporary flight restriction that spans 28,000 square miles due to take place on July the 26th. Now, the TFR will be active for more than 5 hours during the opening ceremony of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Now, the TFR includes two major Parisian airports. That's Charles de Gaulle International and Paris-Orly Airport. All aircraft will be rejected starting at 5:30 p.m. local time, and aircraft that receive special permission might be able to depart Charles de Gaulle by 11:30 p.m. that same night. Now, in addition to passengers flying to these airports, hundreds of flights traveling through the airspace will have to be rerouted around the TFR, including many heading to London Heathrow International Airport. These aircraft will need to be diverted over Western France or through Belgium, and the increased traffic in these areas will pressure short-staffed European air traffic controllers. Now, on a typical Friday in July, Charles de Gaulle Airport sees approximately 350,000 passengers pass through, thus meaning the temporary flight ban will cause major headaches for many travellers. And obviously, if there's going to be cancellations or delays, anything like that, don't expect it just to fall for that 26th of July. There will be a knock-on effect in the days after.
Pay attention, because if you try to get to your yacht because you're doing some sort of owner's trip or charter, I would advise staying anywhere away from an airplane on the 26th, either the 25th or the 27th.
Yeah, it could be, yeah, especially if you're looking at that around France, Belgium area. It's going to be fun and games, that's for sure.
And news out of the U.S. with an aviation bill being signed by the president.
Yeah, it's actually quite good news. President Joe Biden has signed off on the long-awaited updated federal aviation authorization bill, which will hopefully give a positive impact for summer travel this year. Now, the legislation prohibits airlines from charging fees for families to sit together, requires airlines to be fitted with 25-hour cockpit recording devices, boosts aircraft production scrutiny, and raises maximum civil penalties for airline consumer violations from $25,000 per violation to $75,000 per violation. Now, the new law also requires that if a passenger declines an airline's rebooking request or does not respond to the request, the airline must issue an automatic refund. Biden has often clashed with airlines by calling for new stricter consumer rules and harshly criticized them for imposing so-called junk fees.
Wow, that definitely puts passengers a little bit above the airlines, because the airlines have seemed to be almost a mafia in the past. They could easily do what they want to do.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's good that somebody's actually taking them on. Simple things like having families sit together. Some of the prices that airlines are charging for trying to get pre-seating in place is just outrageous. Honestly, it's getting crazily expensive. Some of the routes, the price in trying to pre-book a seat prior to check-in open is getting close to the price of the ticket you're going to pay. That's how crazy it is. For the president to put something in place for US airlines, meaning that families have to be seated together, that should make a big difference anyway.
Well, yeah. The last thing, I traveled with infants, and I tell you, how are you going to put a 2-year-old in a seat that's 3 rows away? That's absolutely ridiculous. And why should you have to pay extra in order to have that? To be honest, I would rather pay extra to have that 2-year-old sit with somebody else. Really?
Yeah. Happy days. Stick of 10 rows in front of you.
If you want me to pay extra, then you sure as hell will judge me and make it sit somewhere else entirely, and I'll enjoy my flight anyway. It is what it is. And United Airlines has news.
Yeah, so despite only beginning Los Angeles to Brisbane and Auckland in late 2023, the peak summer down under, United has already ended them. The seasonal services will not return. Both routes barely lasted 5 months due to passenger shortages and increased competition. The airline barely filled half the flights that operated on the route.
Makes sense. And
Yeah, it's an odd one, to be honest with you, because it's quite popular, especially with not just yacht crew or anybody else. You don't particularly have that many flights traveling long haul from New Zealand, especially from Auckland. So for them to cut it so quickly, it barely operated for 5 months, I think it was. In total, it must have really been a poorly received route for them to cancel it quite so quickly.
yeah, it does seem odd when you think about it, because we're just heading into that summer season. So schools are letting out. When we're talking about yacht crew, it's cruise time to travel. Summer is one of the busiest travel times of the year. You would think they would at least give it the run until the end of summer.
Yeah, they clearly focused on the Pacific summer here in New Zealand and in Australia. But like you say, on the flip side of that, you've got the European summer coming up, which there's going to, from New Zealand and from Australia as well. There's going to be a lot of travellers, not only for families, but also the kids who are finishing school and look to do their overseas adventures or whatever as well. So, yeah, I'm surprised that they cut it short as quickly as they did.
And of course, it wouldn't be a travel show without a little bit of strike action or possible strike action on the horizon out of England.
Yeah, it's the norm nowadays, isn't it? More strikes have been announced by Border Force staff at Heathrow Airport at the back end of half term. The strike action will take place on the 31st of May and the 1st and 2nd of June. It will be followed by 3 weeks of action short of a strike, including staff working to rule and a ban on overtime running from 4th of June until the 25th of June. More than 500 members of the PCS, that's the Public and Commercial Services Union, will take part in the strikes, which come following a dispute over a new staff roster. The PCS said it expects the walkout to disrupt passport checks for travellers coming into the UK at the airport. If you are flying into Heathrow on those dates, expect a long wait, unfortunately.
Travel. Such a joy.
Yeah, sometimes.
Here's funny. I think years ago, now I'm dating myself again, but travel was different. Nowadays, you have to have a bottle of pills, Mama's Little Helpers, Valium, or whatever it is, before you actually get to the airport. Because from the time you get to the airport till the time you leave the airport at your destination, it's chaos. It's really chaos.
It can be, yeah. Especially this time of year as well in Europe, strike action, Olympics, and they're now going to put no-fly zone in place. You've really got to be on the ball. It's not like you can book your flight months in advance and forget about it until the day you travel. You've got to constantly be aware of changes, disruptions, whatever. And then you'd put on top of that wars in certain places, so then there's no fly zones in other areas of the world as well. And it's a difficult thing to do at the moment.
Good times. Lee, I have to say, I missed you last week, and I hope we're going to have you back again next week.
I will definitely be here. Oh, just quickly as well, ATPI Yacht Travel and myself will be attending the Sanctuary Cove Boat Show this week. That's Thursday and Friday, the 23rd and 24th of May. Sorry, I'm doing a little bit of self-promotion here again. If any current clients or potential clients would like to meet up and discuss how I can help with your travel arrangements, please reach out to me and we can make time for a coffee and a catch-up. Or if it's not a coffee and you want something stronger, I'm sure we can make that happen as well.
And that was just worth the free flight home to Canada.
Yeah, wasn't it?
First class.
First class. You're definitely going to the Yukon.
The Yukon. I wonder if they have one of those premier lounges or whatever. Can you imagine the tiny little air? That would be nice. A premier lounge. They've got 2 seats.
Yeah. That'll be you and a moose or something, I reckon, in there.
Or at least an antlers or like a beaver head or something. Yeah, I could see it now.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. And if you are crew and you have any questions for Lee, please do drop him an email. We'll provide all of his information below this interview when it airs. And if it needs to be responded to immediately, he will. If it can wait until next week's show, then it will wait.
Absolutely.
And nobody actually gives you their name anymore. Add your name so we can say your name on air.
Yeah, I know. And I don't want to repeat some of the email addresses.
I can imagine there's the Gmail or Hotmail accounts. You're like,
yeah, let's not put that on there.
It's like they've been there for so long, Hotmail and Gmail, that like regular names are taken up. So they put their name and then add like expletives or sexually suggestive things behind it. And you're like, right. Okay. And the fact that some of these are crew So they're using those email addresses to apply for jobs. I'm just saying, clear
Let's
out
hope.
there. Oh my God, please get yourself a new email address if it's anything dodgy that you're using, because everyone's going to look. I mean, that's the first thing is the email address when it comes in, right? I don't care how great your CV is.
Yeah.
If you've got like a raunchy email address, people are going to be like, next.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, not only that, spam filters will probably kick it straight out if they read that.
Yeah. See, I'm the opposite. I see something like that and I'm like, who's this?
How have you not been hacked?
Yeah. Well, anyway. Right. Thank you all for joining us. You've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria, and on behalf of Lee Harris and I, we thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.